Nike?
Yeah, can we switch to North Korea?
Sure.
On Tuesday, you said the U.S. was assessing the specific nature of North Korea's recent ballistic missiles launch. Is there a conclusion on that already? And then, did you have more to share with us on U.S. actions? And are sanctions working to deter North Korea from more ballistic missiles launches? Thank you.
Sure, Nike. So again, we are still assessing the specific nature of the most recent launch, which I will reiterate posed an unacceptable threat to the region. And to take a step back, we again condemn the DPRK's October 5th ballistic missile launch. This launch, along with the multiple other launches over the course of this week and in September, are a very clear violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions and pose a direct threat to the DPRK's neighbors and the international community. In terms of specific actions, I don't have actions to preview for you, but I will note that the US has responded to these. I will let my colleagues at the Pentagon speak to these in more detail, but we almost immediately took part in military exercises with our allies in Korea and our allies in Japan. The USS Ronald Reagan is in the region for this exact reason. And of course, we continue to have a number of tools in our tool belt, sanctions, other things, to continue to hold the regime accountable. But I don't have any specific actions to preview, but the United States is monitoring and watching closely and ready to take additional action as well.
One of the problems with North Korea has been that you have now with North Korea is that in the past you have managed to get an international consensus. You mentioned the Security Council resolutions that they're in violation of. All those were passed. But yesterday we saw a situation where the Russians and the Chinese blocked any kind of action. Are you at all hindered in trying to get the North Koreans back to the negotiating table by the position that the Russians and the Chinese are taking? Or do you think that you can, actions that you take on your own or in concert with with allies, it can be enough to do it?
Well, first, to echo our UN ambassador, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, on Russia and China's actions during the Security Council meeting yesterday, that was obviously deeply disappointing. And we saw the very loose use of rhetoric that the DPRK's actions were provoked or something to that effect. That obviously and certainly is not the case. But look, Matt, to take a little bit of a bigger step back, our goal here still remains the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. And dialogue with the DPRK without preconditions continues to be, in our viewpoint, a piece to that puzzle. And so we're going to continue to pursue those things. However, we also are going to continue to hold the DPRK accountable through actions at our multilateral institutions and other actions otherwise. I don't have anything to preview, but again, we have been reacting, we've been taking action to this directly. Kylie?
I'm wondering if the administration expects that North Korea will carry out a nuclear test before the end of the year, because administration officials were very clear in saying it was possible that they could be preparing for one when the president was in Asia earlier this year. They didn't actually carry out a nuclear test. Do you think it'll happen before the end of the year?
Like I said, we're still assessing the specific nature, and I don't have a new or different assessment to provide from here. But I think the bigger thing is that we, again, condemn these very destabilizing and unsafe actions that we're seeing come from the DPRK over the course of this week. And
just one more question.
Sure.
Do you think that this incredibly high number of missile tests this year could be a tactic by North Korea to try and get you guys to pay attention and actually engage in talks?
Well, we have continually at almost every interval in which this question has come to Ned or myself or others from the State Department, even non-spokespeople, we've been quite clear that we continue to affirm that dialogue with the DPRK without preconditions continues to be a tenet of our approach when it comes to the denuclearization of the peninsula. So the offer is out there. Anything else on the region before we move away?
Follow up on that.
Abby, go ahead.
But given the escalation, obviously, and what's been happening in recent weeks, is there any consideration of reevaluating the policy, the strategy that you have been undertaking, and perhaps looking at a higher level, offering a higher level meeting that had taken place in the past administration?
I don't have any meetings or any kind of engagement like that to preview, but I will, to the top of your question, our position on diplomacy and dialogue as it relates to our goal of the complete denuclearization of the peninsula has not changed, and that continues to be very much on the table. Anything else on the region before we move away?
So on meetings, speaking of meetings, reports from South Korea is saying that the US, Japan, and South Korea have agreed to have a trilateral meeting in Tokyo this month. Would the Deputy Secretary Schulman attend the trilateral meeting?
Thanks, Nikki. I don't have any meetings or any trilateral engagement specifically to announce, but as I noted earlier in this week, senior officials from not just this building, but across the interagency have been in close touch with their counterparts, not just within the Republic of Korea, but Japan as well. And our defense and our commitment to them is ironclad, but I don't have any potential other meetings to read out.